What's up YouTube? Fred here. Thanks for coming by the channel. Before I get started on the video, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. That'll help me on my channel, as well as it'll get more people able to see the content that I make. Alright, so today's video. As a motorcyclist, I like having my GoPro so that I can film what I'm doing and share it with friends, put it up on YouTube. And recently, when I made the video about the first ride on the Street Fighter, I noticed a couple of things that I hadn't really thought about before, but upon watching some other people on YouTube, I got some ideas about how I might be able to mount my GoPro a little bit better. So right here, I've got my old helmet. This is a Shoei RF 1200. You'll see I've got a GoPro mount right here. So let me get a GoPro. Alright, so the way that I've traditionally run my GoPro is I will have a mount that comes out and it holds the camera roughly here. So if you're riding along, you can see that the camera is basically on the side of the helmet. You can adjust the angle so that it's roughly in the plane with your vision. So it works pretty well, but there are a couple problems. This case that I have for it, it's an aftermarket case, but you'll notice there's a opening on the side. So that opening on the side, that lets you attach a microphone to the GoPro so that you can then run it up under probably somewhere by your chin or by your mouth for a microphone so you can get audio while you're riding. The GoPros are notorious for having really bad microphones, or at least picking up really bad wind noise, any sort of vibration or things bumping against the case. So if you run an external mic, you get rid of all that noise and you're able to pick up sound a lot better. So the downside to this approach is that the camera is generally pretty close to the side of the helmet, and the cable that comes out over here, so that where the cable comes out actually presses into the side of the visor. And so what you end up having to do is use more spacers, and basically the camera is probably a good 4 or 5 inches out from the side of your head. That's a bit of a problem for a couple reasons. One is that if this is way out here, you're not getting quite the right perspective. Two, you're getting a view of the side of the helmet, and it's taking out probably a quarter to a third of the frame, depending on how you framed it. These are older GoPros. This is a Hero 3 Silver, and it doesn't have the screen on it, so I can't tell what the field of vision is showing until I'm reviewing the footage. Now, if I'm setting it up and going for a ride, that's not something I can do, so I'm kind of take a best guess, eyeball it, but then ultimately it doesn't end up looking that good, or at least there's a potential for that. And then the last thing is that this puts a fair amount of weight on the side of the helmet. You can definitely feel it, and I'll notice when I'm stopped at a light that my helmet will be just canted a little bit to the right because of the weight of the helmet. Because of the weight of the camera. So there are a couple problems with that, and I wanted to find a better solution for that. So I did some looking on YouTube, I did some Googling and searching, and I found a couple different people who run GoPros for their primary setup, but they don't have the same problems. They're clearly not mounting it on the side. I found that dirt bike guys tend to mount it up above their helmet. I'm not sure why that is, but I don't think they're running audio. And so for people who do run audio, it seems like the best place to mount it is right in front of your face, like right down on the chin of the helmet. So there are a couple problems with that. Taking my old helmet here, right here is a vent for letting air into the helmet. And it's a curved surface and there's a bunch of moving parts, so you can't actually attach something right to the front of the helmet. Additionally, you open up the visor, that shows you there's a pretty narrow area where you can mount anything, and that surface is not flat, so you can't really mount things there. So then I thought, well, if I get some mounts, maybe I can mount something closer to the front. But I didn't actually have the right connectors to allow me to have the adhesive mount here and then move the camera to the front without having a lot of extra material, and it wasn't a very clean setup. So I did a little more searching, and I ended up finding actually a pretty cool YouTuber, as well as she's got a website called A Girl and Her Bike, and they actually have this, which is a GoPro mount, and I'll see if I can get the camera to focus on it. But this allows you to put your camera mount way back on the side of the helmet, and then it curves around to the front, has a couple custom pieces for your GoPro, which allow you to then mount it basically in front of your mouth. There are a couple benefits to that. First of all, it gives you that great POV view, so it looks like the camera is in the helmet. It doesn't obscure your view at all because it's down below where the front of the helmet is. and the microphone cable that sticks out actually can stick out. You can route the cables behind, you can tie everything off, and the microphone only has to go just around the edge of the helmet, and it's right where your mouth is, so it's already in the right place. It also isn't going to weight things on the side. It's on the front, so even though it may not be as aerodynamic, you know, if you're filming something high speed on a track maybe, it's in the front at least, so whatever disturbance or turbulence it has, the air is going relatively evenly around the helmet. So I went to a Girl on Her Bike's website. I bought their helmet mount. I think it was $20. And so far it seems super well made. Just looking at it, this is, you know, at least as good, if not better, than the GoPro plastic. It feels very solid. And so we're gonna mount it on my helmet and see what happens. All right, so this is my new helmet. This is a AGV AX8 carbon. This is a very light, kind of fancy helmet. I thought it worked really well with the Hyper. So it was a very, like, kind of a naked style helmet. So I'm gonna find a spot on the side here. You can see there's some texture where there's some indents here. I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm thinking somewhere right in here is where that's gonna mount. And then that little arm is gonna pull the camera out into the front so I can actually have it mounted and still keep this vent able to open and close. So that's the goal. All right, so I bought a box of these curved adhesive mounts, curved and flat actually. I'm not quite sure which kind I'm gonna need. So let's take a look. We'll get one of each kind. And we're gonna look here and see where this best fits. I think the flat mount right here looks pretty good. So we want to open up the mounts and we want to actually just kind of test fit everything and make sure that the camera is positioned in the right place, and then that'll also help us figure out where exactly on the helmet that we want to mount things. So let's get this opened up. All right, so I've mocked this up. I'm holding it on. It's not actually mounted yet, but you can see that if I put it here, it basically holds the camera out just a little bit in front of the helmet. The actual lens is in center line with the helmet, and there's a number of adjustments where I can tilt and pivot, and I can get it a little closer to the helmet if I want, or further away. And I have roughly the idea of the position that I want the mount to be in. So I'm gonna get it mounted and put it on, we'll see. All right, so I've got the mount attached, and you'll notice I'm clamping one of the thumb screws for the GoPro. I'm clamping that to hold down. I couldn't put enough pressure on the sides. And you can see with this indent, this pad wasn't actually touching in the back. The thumb screw here is actually thicker at one end than the other. And so it turned out to be just a perfect angle. So I'm gonna give this an hour to set, and then we'll revisit and see how it's doing. All right, so we're back. About an hour has passed. So I had the clamp on the helmet, and I just took everything off. You can see it is now firmly attached on the helmet. So I'm gonna put everything on and we're gonna see how that looks. And there it is. Look at that. That looks awesome. Man, that looks really good. You can see it still has a gap between the helmet and the camera, so that lets me, you know, adjust things forward or backward as needed. And I'm gonna play around. One thing that is cool is that the kit came with 2 additional spacers. One, you can see the pieces are in alignment. The other, you can see the pieces are offset 90 degrees. And what those will let you do is that it lets you lengthen different pieces of this. So you can put one here, you can put one here to raise things up. So I'm gonna play around with it and hopefully get some footage here real soon where I can share that, but probably gonna mess up my hair. Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, so I can't really feel any difference with the helmet. I think just the fact that it's on the center line and that the weight is fairly evenly distributed means I'm not being pulled to one side. It feels great. And the only thing I can see is right here. I can just make out the corner of this. And I think that's because the lens is on center line. but the actual camera itself is shuffled a little to the side. But other than that, I can't even tell I have it. If I, were to strap all this stuff on, I don't think I would even notice that I have a camera. So that's a big improvement. I'm pretty happy about that. All right, so anyway, that's the camera mount. I'm very excited. Can't wait to test it out. I'll have a video with that pretty soon. And I just want to give a shout out to A Girl and Her Bike channel for the part. And I will include a link to her page as well as the video where I found this in case you want to get your own. And thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed the video or found any of this helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Bye.